You said you'd be on your best behaviour and you're already being naughty,
It's what I do.
aren't you?
Yep.
Already messing stuff up.
If you're going to have me on, you know it's not going to go like clockwork.
That's true.
It's going to be messy but funny.
That is true.
And at the end, you're going to get some gold.
That is true. Anyway, welcome back to the regular podcast listeners. If this is your first time, this is my wonderful partner, Steve, fiance, I should say, because we're actually getting married. That's probably something to update people because people knew we were getting married and then I was like, nah, we're not getting married.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Married in 8 weeks.
Getting married in 8 weeks. Talk about that later. But once a month, I bring Steve on to the podcast and we talk about our relationship and we talk about the things that we give a fuck about in our relationship that make our relationship pretty bloody good. And we also share about the things that we give our fucks to that contribute to it not being awesome. And all of that sharing helps us show up in an authentic way in our relationship. And we want to share that with you peeps. So if you're new to the podcast, this is Steve.
Hi, everyone. I said I'd be on my best behavior.
Oh, okay.
You don't like the raw version?
I do
so
like the
I'm
raw
giving
version.
You the box version.
No, be your self. But remember, there are two selves. There is the ego self and there is the true self.
This is true.
So anyway, we like to start our episodes with sharing what we have enjoyed about our relationship, what we've liked about our relationship, but also what we found challenging, difficult, what we haven't enjoyed. So, my darling Steve, what have you enjoyed, liked, whatever about our relationship, and also what have you found challenging? It can be this week or even the past month because it's a month when you come on.
Yeah, I think there's probably two highlights to me of what I've enjoyed since the last episode. One was our scenic Saturday, which was fucking unbelievably grueling because we didn't realize we were going to climb a mountain.
Yeah.
But whilst it was a painful physical experience, emotionally, I really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed last night when we were hanging out the back.
Yeah.
Because our neighbour was having a party and they told us that it was going to be on. So we're like, hey, why don't we just have our own little party in the back? So it was just
listening to their music that they were playing.
Yeah, so it was just you, me, and my mate Tommy.
Yeah, and the girls were there.
And the girls were there and just having some drinks and having a kick off.
That was nice.
It was nice to cut loose a bit and to see you having fun. Because when you're fun, it's fun. What I haven't enjoyed is your darkness, which you're very open about with people. It's been a challenge. Kat gives me the opportunity, whilst I don't like it, she gives me the opportunity to like really have to learn how to show up in a relationship. And I will say as a man, because we're in a male-female relationship, so for me, it's really about the masculine and the feminine and how they interact with each other, and that situation that you bring when you're off in ego land forces me to have to like dig deeper into, okay, well, how can I actually show up in a way that doesn't then trigger me to go off into my ego land, which would then be like a nuclear button being pressed.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
How about you, Kat? What have you enjoyed and not enjoyed?
What I haven't enjoyed, I'll start with that, is I have felt, I guess Scenic Saturday was our really big remedy for this, but I have felt like you're on one side of the room, metaphorically, and I'm on the other side of the room, and there's been so much in the middle of us, be it the girls, be it at your work, be it my work, be it this transformative phase that I'm going through. And yeah, by the end of the night, I'm like, I have been prior to Scenic Saturday, which helped us reconnect. It was just like, hi, but also I got fucking nothing left for you. And I don't I haven't enjoyed that. I know that you and I over the last like now nearly 5 months have really been trying to find new ways for us to connect and reconnect in shorter bouts of time. We were more time rich before, and we're definitely not in terms of us. When the girls are at school, you're working, I'm working, and I know you've been pumped with work, and I'm changing things within my work. And it's just been like, oh, I love you, but so much feels like there's in between us. So I haven't enjoyed that. And what I have enjoyed or what I've appreciated is just how much you and I give a fuck about coming back together. And it might be through, a text message that we need to clear, and then one of us speaks truth or texts truth, and the other one, we get it. We get this work, and we get what it takes to come back together when we've gone off into our own little spaces. So I've really liked and enjoyed and appreciated, our willingness to come back. Why are you laughing?
I'm just looking at the clock. I was going to go, and that's all we've got time for.
Oh, my gosh.
That was a very long but thorough explanation of what you've enjoyed and not enjoyed.
I'm just going to share in real life time how triggered I am. So triggered. Like, I am lit up internally like it's fucking Christmas. All the lights are on inside, and I'm doing my best to just, cool, you're just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually brings us, so I'm going to come back to what you just said.
Oh, I know you are. I did it on purpose to give you the segue.
Oh, well,
I've got your back.
I just got the segue.
I know, but it wouldn't have been authentic if I told you what I was going to do.
I just want to put a big asterisk here. We're looking after our friend's dog, and his name's Winston, and he's a big fluffy Samoy, and he pants. So if you're hearing panting in the background, it's because right under our feet there's a big panting Samoy.
Yep.
So FYI. Okay, great segue. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
You're welcome. So today,
and that's all we have time.
but I don't give a shit. So today, what we're going to be talking to you about is this concept that was first coined back in the 1700s by a guy called Rumi.
Yes.
And you may have heard it before, but it doesn't matter whether you have heard it before or not, because even if you have, I can almost guarantee you're not doing it because it's next to impossible.
Oh.
And it is.
No.
Trust. We'll get to it.
True.
What it is the 3 gates of communication. So this guy basically said that before you speak at all, you have to run it through 3 gates before it leaves your mouth. The first one is this true? The next one is
this necessary?
Is this necessary? And the third one is this kind? And if it doesn't pass through all 3 gates, then you're not to communicate. So, for example, when I said to Kat, well, that's all we've got time for today, because her explanation of what she liked and didn't like was quite long, then we go...
Long to who?
Well, that's a different discussion. We go through the gates, right? So in my head, is it true? Yep, it was a long one. Was it necessary to say? No. So right then and there, it shouldn't have come out. Was it kind? No, because it was basically an uppercut, right? So it was good that you picked up on that, because as I said, I wanted a good little introduction in terms. So what we've been trying to play with, not just in our relationship, but just like in our friendship group the last few days, is not communicating unless it passes through the gates. And why I said it's hard is because it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's lots of things that we say to each other which are kind, but, little jib jabs like, it can be something small,
Mm.
but like, for example, let's say that you're in a relationship and, your partner's, I don't know, made a shit meal for dinner, but, the thought was there to do it. So it's like, oh, well, if you say that, oh, I didn't really like dinner. Yes, it's true. Is it necessary and is it kind? Probably not, because they put effort in. So, yeah, it sounds simpler than it is.
And we have been putting it into practice. And there are times, there are times where I can just feel a sentence wanting to come out of my mouth, and I'm like, I literally, I purse my lips together, like bring my lips back together, and you will catch me and you're like, what did you want to say?
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, it's not. I'm like, yes. I think that there's the true gate is that's a gate that you can go through, right? Because they're sometimes behind the way that we communicate, there is truth, but we wrap it up in sarcasm. We wrap it up in smartassy. We wrap it up in anger. We wrap it up in power. We wrap it up in whatever you want to wrap it up in. So, there are things that I can say to you, or that I want to say to you, that are true, but the way that I was just about to say it is not necessary, nor is it kind. So I think that there's a few filters that take place where some things are just dead set, not true, not necessary, and not kind. And then other things are true, but we need to stop and reflect for a moment to ask ourselves, is the way I'm about to deliver this necessary, kind? You know what I mean?
Sometimes truth can be there. You just don't need to share it.
That is also true too.
Like that's the whole
true too.
That's the whole point of
That's
the
true
second
too.
gate. It's like, if if you've got smelly breath and it's there, is it necessary to share it? Like, does this need to be delivered to the person, or is it basically, or maybe a better example is if my hair is looking grayer than usual, right? And there's nothing I can do about it because I'm, getting grayer.
Unless you color it, but you're choosing not to.
Yep. So is you telling me that necessary?
Yeah,
even
that's
if
actually
it's
true.
truthful?
Because I said to you the other day, oh wow, you're what did I say? You're like really silver fox. Like you're more.
No, you didn't say the word fox. You
Didn't
just
I?
said, wow, you're really silver today. And I was like, wow, that doesn't help
Yeah,
me.
that's right. Because Steve's Steve's having a fancy dress party, and he's going as a certain character. I won't say it out loud because I don't want to spoil what you're going as. And he's growing his hair, so he's there is more, like, in truth, there's more silver that's there because your hair's longer, right? But like you said, I didn't need to fucking say that. I didn't need to say that.
No.
Like it wasn't actually necessary, nor was it kind. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's just more silver. But then I had no consideration in that moment for how that might make you feel when you might be thinking, oh shit, well, I can't see the back of my head. I didn't know that I was going more silver. And then I knock on your own self-confidence stuff, self-esteem stuff.
Yeah, because the first thing that went through my head when you said that is, shit, maybe I should start dyeing my hair because I don't want to look like some old silver guy.
Wow. See, isn't that interesting? But even in my head, I'm just like, oh, I'm just noticing that you're more silver. What's wrong with that? And that's where I think we then get into these like petty fucking shit arguments in relationships. But in that moment, if the gates were like I said, this is a new practice that we're practicing. So it's not, what's that competency thing that you talk about? The shoelace thing?
So the
Competently incompetent thing?
Yeah. So whenever you're learning a new skill, you start by being consciously incompetent.
Consciously
so you know
incompetent.
that you're shit.
Right.
Then you become, sorry, no. You start unconsciously incompetent.
Unconsciously.
Unconsciously. So you don't realize your crap. Then you become consciously incompetent. That's when you realize that you are crap.
Right.
Then you become consciously competent, which is where you become good at it, but you have to really think.
Yeah.
And then finally, you become unconsciously competent, which is
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know your shit.
So we're like, this is something that we've brought into our relationship consciously, but there are times where I've totally forget about the gates and you'll forget about the gates.
Mm.
And then afterwards, it's like, damn it, the gates. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it really is, it's scrambling our little brains, you know, like even the other day, I remember I woke up and you said to me, wow, you look really beautiful. In terms of my body. And I'm doing the gates to myself too, because immediately I wanted to be like, yeah, that's because I'm not bloated today and I don't have my period for the second time in a month today. And was ready to just hang shit on his comment. And then I just went, oh, thank you. And you could see the war that was going on inside of me of having to, you know, not speak out loud so that I didn't pass through my own gates.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mm.
Yeah.
So I guess the point we're trying to make is, or not that we're trying to make, what I'm trying to make is I look at this and I'm like, okay, we're 7 years together shortly.
Mm.
And like anything in life, things that you have, you take for granted, right? They're not shiny and new anymore. They're just there. And, you know, in terms of relationships, like when we've talked to people about relationships or when people have come to us with relationship issues, it's always the same thing. You know, this shit doesn't show up at the start. This shows up once you start going, oh, well, that person I used to like adore and love and like look at like I can't breathe, like they're just now there. And I think this is where these toolkits, these things that we're putting in front of you guys every month, you know, like, is there something we need to clear? Or in this case, it's the gates, you know,
Or
these
what's
are,
the end result of your relationship?
yeah, correct. What's
Yeah.
the end result? And, you know, all these different tools, you need to start applying them because fundamentally without it, you're not going to be consciously showing up into your relationship. And I've always said to anyone else and to you that your relationship is nothing more than a pure reflection of what you're bringing into it. You know, just like your life or your body, you know, is a reflection of like how much discipline you've got, whether it's, you know, through with food or with gym. And, you know, your life is a reflection of the decisions that you've made, you know, through all these years.
And same with a relationship.
And the same with a relationship. So I guess in our case, we're using this to make sure, because I think the gates, whether you realize it or not, they force you to not take the other person for granted.
Absolutely.
Or if you are, they mirror to you that you are taking them for granted by saying, hey, you know, like that comment is going to be a dig. That comment isn't necessary. That comment isn't this.
Yep.
And if the only thing coming through is communication that has passed through those 3 gates, then you can pretty much guarantee that reciprocity is going to deliver a better relationship than what you have without it.
Which may mean, oh gosh, I mean, you can use the gates on everything, right? So you can use the gates on one-to-one, you to me, you know, and vice versa. Then you can use the gates in obviously towards yourself. But if you're also in a relationship, you can use the gates if you start having a bitch about another couple or about a friend, you know. And what I'm learning through this is, it's really refining conversation. And it's also, it shows that like, there's not much to say.
Well,
if I'm going to be talking in my default, then there's plenty to say. But if I'm going through these gates, it's far more conscious conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I made the joke because my mate and I, Tommy, and I think he's doing this on his podcast as well because we've both been
we've all been
with
doing it
this
together.
week.
Yeah.
And like we've been mates for 40 years, right?
That's crazy.
And you know, we were making the joke that like
you two jab
hard, right?
Hard.
Like
Unnecessarily.
hard.
Oh.
And you know, we were talking about how I said, fuck man, like we're never gonna talk again. You know, and we tried it, and there was like it was hard. It was hard because we're so conditioned. And I think that's the other thing, right? Is that if you've become conditioned to be sarcastic in a relationship,
right.
whether it's you to kids, you to friend, you to yourself, whatever. But if you've become sarcastic, or if you've become like, you know, one of those sneaky little uppercutters that like just says little comments and narcs and stuff, this is going to show you where you're investing your time.
Absolutely.
And if your mouth ain't opening because it's not allowed to based on these gates, then it's going to help you like reflect.
Totally.
But as I said, it's super hard.
It really is.
Because like now, it was really funny. Now the conversation becomes, if someone says something, well, hang on a minute, that shouldn't have come out. And then there's debate, you know, about, oh, no, but it's true. It's like, yeah, cool, it's true, but was it necessary?
Yeah.
And then
the second gate is always like,
well, the third one's the hardest one. Is it kind? But the necessary part is debatable, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you guys an example. So, at cards, same guy, Tommy, eating some chocolate, but he's very
he enjoys
chocolate. So he'll take like one piece and he will just like I get a piece and it's like no, gone, right? He's like anyway, and we were having like this conniption because we're like, how do you communicate, dude? Shut the fuck up! It's so loud with the gates because it is true, right? Well, it's true to us.
It's true to you because it's true that it's annoying you.
Correct. It's true to us.
Yeah.
Is it necessary? Not really, because we're the ones being triggered.
Totally.
Right? Not him.
Totally.
And then is it kind? Well, that depends on your delivery, right? So there was this like full debate about like, can you even give that feedback?
Yeah.
Because it also then, these gates force you to then look at your ego and to acknowledge if, you know, self-responsibility is big for us.
Yep.
And self-responsibility is you understanding at your core that everything else in the world is stimulus and you are response. You can't necessarily control stimulus, but you have every bit of control over how you respond to that stimulus. And the fact is that it isn't him sucking on chocolate that was triggering us. It's whatever's inside us that is triggered by it.
See, that's a whole like
that's a whole podcast on its own.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. But it really is. I mean, I was just going to say, even the fact that, you know, the three of you on cards night, the fact that you're talking about that as opposed to shut the fuck up, stop doing that. Like to the point where I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, why are you guys friends? Why do you hang out and play cards once a week? Because, you know, if anyone listened to this, they would also ask the question, why are you friends?
Because we love each other.
Well, that is true. But what I'm saying is that even the sheer fact that at the table you're having a debate. Conscious. Yeah. You're having a debate of like, okay, I actually want to say this right now. Let's talk about how it works with the gates. You know what I mean? And even last night when we were hanging out, I said, I think you were about to say something to Tommy on like 3 gates, Steve, because like again, you two are just flicking nerves left, right, and center. And Allegra, my eldest bonus daughter, was like, what are these gates? So I started to share with her about it. And when her younger sister came home, I heard Allegra start, you know, mumbling stuff. And I'm like, 3 gates. She's like, oh, damn it. So, you know, you can, you've always got to do it yourself. You know, you can't preach and not do it and be in the practice of it. But you can share this with your children, your family, anyone you're in relationship with. I mean, my gosh, if fucking all of us humans took greater responsibility and went through these gates, I mean, the world would be different.
It would definitely be a game changer. So I guess our gift to you, this podcast, is to share
A tool that we're in the practice
this
of.
tool,
Yeah.
right? And to challenge you like we're challenging ourselves.
Mm.
Go and have a play.
Yeah.
Like set an intention for the week, right? That anything that comes out of your mouth is
Yeah.
going to go through those gates. You know, share it with your partner
Yep.
so they know that that you know you're going to attempt this, and maybe you can give them a little nudge and go, hey, you know, why don't we do this together?
Yeah.
And then see how things change. Like anything, I guess, you know, when you know, a lot of people say to us, and we get comments on videos and stuff about couple goals, you know, whenever they see us, and we'll meet those people that are like, oh, you know, what do you do?
I was just about to say something smart ass and I went through the gates again.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Was it going to be like because of me?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I know.
I was just about to be a little cheeky shit.
Yeah. And but I don't want to lose that.
No,
I know.
I get it. I know there's we're always dancing with the line of
totally.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, and a lot of people will ask us, you know, like, what is it that makes your relationship great? And it's like, there's no one thing. There's no one thing. It's the aggregate of all these little practices,
the myriad
and
of practices and tools we have.
So this is one of many.
Yeah.
But go and take it and have a test drive, just like you guys did when we said, is there something you need to clear? Like, go and test drive that and see how it works.
So many of you are using that. It's amazing to hear.
And always happy to get the feedback. I'd love to hear back through your socials, like
just
how people
quickly
go.
Though, before we close off, what are you personally, Stephen Buchler, what are you finding most challenging about the 3 gates? And what are you actually liking about the 3 gates? If you could sum it up for you personally, and then I'd like you to ask the same thing for me, because
didn't we just sum it up in this
No,
podcast?
I just want to, like, you specifically.
Me specifically?
Yeah. What are you enjoying about this practice? What are you finding really challenging about this practice for you personally?
For me, what I'm finding challenging is speaking. Like, legit.
Yeah.
It's hard. You just don't realize how many things, like as I said, I mean, we have covered it, but like the necessary one, so much stuff that comes out of people's mouths is not necessary. Like, it's just filling the air with noise, right? And that's a big one. Like, is it necessary to talk about this? Is it necessary to say this? Is it necessary to, like, so many times the answer is just no. What I'm enjoying about it is it's helping me to observe how many shitty little digs my ego generates. That up until this point, I may have just fired out the door.
Off. Yeah.
And as a result, it makes you a kinder person, because effectively, if it's saying that you can't say anything unless it's kind, well, then the only thing you can say must be kind. But I also am the first to acknowledge that I'm failing miserably.
I love that.
There is so much.
I love that.
So many things that come out of my mouth since we've started that are just complete fails. But I think the amazing thing is that we now turn around and go, oh, shit, that was a fail.
Totally.
And like that awareness to be like bang, bang, bang is where it starts. Where
are we consciously consciously
we're starting to become consciously competent.
Because
you're doing it, but you're doing it like a fucking kid that's like, the rabbit goes around the hole and
when
through
you're
the
tying
laces.
your shoelace. Yeah.
For
me, what I'm finding most challenging is watching. So what I'm finding most challenging is seeing how judgmental I am.
To yourself or to everyone?
To everyone. To me and to everyone. Like, in terms of that ego self, obviously that's not my truth. But it's really like heightened how poorly I can talk to myself and how ready I'm just I can make someone feel small through a judgment. And you have often worn you've worn a lot of those judgments. So
now, and I mean, look, what a beautiful platform environment for you to openly apologize for all of those previous judgments that I've worn.
I'm
Take it away.
My darling. I'm sorry, my darling.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
I am sorry. And what I am enjoying about it is, I mean, I love up leveling. I love evolving. I love,
You like a good new tool,
oh,
don't you?
I love a good new tool. You know, I really do. And I'm like, yeah, I know that in 6 months, I'm going to be a fucking legend at this.
Yeah.
You know, I love knowing that in time I will become more of a master
You'll
at
be a ninja.
I'm a ninja, no, a kindness ninja. So that's what I'm finding challenging and what I'm enjoying. And I know we've already capped that, but I just wanted to. I don't think we've actually did cap that. So anyway, I wanted to add it in.
Was that necessary?
What?
That last comment?
Well, no, because you.
It's all right. We'll leave it there, guys. Just
Oh.
showing you how difficult it is to apply these gates, even when you've just recorded a 32-minute podcast telling people how to do it. Until next time.
Until next time. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?